I'm recording. I wanted to kick this off. This is actually the first video interview. My name is Andy Grant, and I'm responsible for community marketing at Hedera. And that includes a lot of the activities we do on hashgraph.org. And one of the real bonuses of getting to work with the community in hashgraph.org is it allows me selfishly, as well as our team, the ability to interact with some amazing community members that are doing some really exciting things. And one of those community members is Nick Siafakas, who I have here. And Nick, hello, Nick. And Nick is responsible for Hash-Hash.info, which I will let him explain, but we also have a write-up on hashgraph.org. But Nick, please share with us about your project.
Right. Hash-Hash.info is really, it's a platform, it's an auditing tool for what's going on with Hedera Hashgraph. It's something that came out by chance, really. So I do see that there is a lot of community support. So it's something we are really pushing now forward to make it happen. So
cool. And so let's talk about your introduction to Hashgraph and what motivated your development and leading up into Hash-Hash.info. Give us an idea of what got you to where you are.
It has a lot to do with what I've been doing probably 10 years ago. So I've been working a lot with compilers and this sort of things, program analysis, a lot of formal verification. And what happened is that I'm quite a newcomer in distributed ledger technologies and blockchains. First time I looked into things was pretty much a year ago, things like EOS and Ethereum. And I have this friend who told me, hey, check out this Hashgraph thing. And I was, okay, interesting. So, okay, academia is a little bit interested in this. So sounds much more interesting. And basically signed us up to do the hackathon. Again, I was a little bit reluctant to join, but maybe a couple of days before the hackathon, we had a formal proof in Coq about properties of a Hashgraph, and I thought, okay, I think these guys, they are actually being serious about it, and they're taking a much more careful approach about this thing. So
let me ask you a question quickly. So just to kind of explain, why was our team's ability to complete the formal proofing by way of the Coq proof assistant? Can you explain why that's such an important achievement for Hashgraph?
It is an important achievement because here's the thing: it's not easy to get any proofs through, and sometimes when you're planning to have a proof of a property, then you know that you have to be very careful with how you formulate things. Because if you start making big claims and it's gonna do this fancy stuff and left and right, you deep down you know that you will never get a proof through. So I do, without knowing, I do believe that it was always planned to build it properly. Build it properly means that properties are going to be proven. Be very careful how to build this whole thing. Think before you shoot. This sort of things, and it's not something I've been used to with many blockchain distributed ledger technologies out there. So this team seems to be really careful with what they're doing and putting effort into proving things with a proof assistant actually does prove that they're really
cool. I know our core development team in Lehman would appreciate those comments. So that's great.
It is a very important achievement. I've seen the proof. I haven't read the proof, but it is a big piece of work. So I can't tell you that.
Good. We're excited. So, okay. So that is the motivation for your participation in the hackathon for Hedera 18 was driven in part by your friend essentially signing you up and also your ability to see some of the work that we've been doing to prove out the consensus algorithm. And
Indeed,
so
indeed.
then what was your experience like?
So the hackathon itself, it was an amazing team. The guys who organized it, was it Be My App, if I remember correctly, in London. Pretty much did everything we needed in there, and Alex and the whole team, amazing, but too much competition. So what do you mean? We entered with something that the idea was to do something like a deal sharing platform. So you submit deals online, and when people like them, they upvote them, and when you get upvotes, you get H bars. So that was the idea. It's something that's been around here in the UK a lot. I think in the US, it's something similar to I don't remember what that service is called, but it's one of these coupon things. Well, okay, we got the hack through. We got a working hack, very excited. But again, we were in London, and the competition was very, very fierce. So we all know Paper with that amazing contribution. So they got the global hackathon, and what happened is we had to go back to our supporters and say, guys, that was serious competition, and they'll be paced. So what we got out of the hackathon was really learning how to work with SDK, which it turns out was easier than what we thought it would be, because if I remember properly, we didn't have access to the SDK. We could download the SDK 1 week before the hackathon, but we didn't have access to any network. So first time we really got into coding was during that event, at the hackathon, and it was amazing how many people got real hacks through, things that actually do work. So we had a lot of support. I had support remotely from Greg and Tim.
Oh, Greg Scullard, yeah.
Absolutely. So there was a point where, okay, I'm stuck. So he did unstuck me in 5 minutes, the SDK is pretty much ready to do great things with it. So I've never seen such a big effort getting as many developers as possible from any sort of programming background. We have Java SDKs, we have Python SDKs, you name it. It's everybody's pretty much served there. So that's not very common in the space. So yes, hackathon was a really great experience for us.
So then that's actually really good to hear. I'm glad that the ease of use and ease of development once you were on the network was pretty straightforward. That's really great. As you mentioned, your initial DApp didn't really survive post Hedera 18, but you had enough interest and desire to continue with the project.
Yes.
And that led us to Hash-Hash.info.
Correct. I mean, remember the hackathon was about October, mid-October. Okay, yep. Then Christmas was coming, and this whole a bit of negative news about blockchain, a little bit about Christmas, a bit everybody going into hibernation.
The crypto market has certainly seen better days.
Yes. Okay, well, okay, let's put it all in the freezer. Let's have a Christmas. So I did really forget about it for a while until I got back into Discord, and everybody was chatting about this test program where people were testing via the what's the place called where we read daily articles, daily timestamp.
Daily timestamp. That's part of our community testing program. Yeah.
Indeed. Wait a minute. So let me have some
earn some H bar.
some testing done myself. Soon I discovered that okay, this actually works. So I'm pretty sure that other people are filling up their wallets quickly. So let's see where my testing stands compared to other people. And I knew how to work with SDK. It was pretty much a one-liner to start printing a log with how much HBARs accounts are making. And that log, what we did is just to share it with the community. And this is how really Hash-Hash.info came to be.
Cool.
So,
I know that when you first pushed Hash-Hash.info through the Telegram channel, that there was a lot of excitement because, that was a very interesting way for the community to kind of see the number of wallets and therefore the number of accounts that have been created on the main network, but also to be able to see the earned tokens and the values held within those wallets of HBAR, which, as you've already described, through the community testing program, it's really nice. Daily timestamp is a way for Hedera to make sure we're monitoring and realizing the performance that we would expect by way of microtransactions on what would essentially be a pay-for-content site. And so, being able to monitor all of the accounts through the view of the wallets and see, what kind of earnings are taking place has really been pretty cool.
To correct you there, we do not have the ability to monitor everything. We monitor just as much as we believe there is. So if if we believe there are 5,000 wallets, then we monitor 5,000. But if there are 10, then we are missing them out at the moment because we were a little bit too quick with monitoring, meaning that we do not have a node where we have a complete picture about what is going on. But you see, actually, it is a good thing. It is a good thing because we are seeing Hedera right now like any other external user would see it, and probably that's more valuable to the Hedera team at this point. I do believe that we have a very high percentage of wallets under our monitor, but we really need to know how far up we have to scan into the accounts. The reason we do not scan like 1 million wallets just to see if there's something out there, it is because it does cost money. And it does cost some tiny amount when you ask queries, which is fine. Here's a great thing: the Hedera team quickly figured out that we may need a little bit of support, and we've got a little bit, and it was enough to run really daily scans of a large quantity of wallets. And the support we've gotten from Telegram and Discord is amazing. I've never experienced something like that before. And what started to be just a small game and a toy became a little bit more serious. So what we did is we started taking snapshots. So every day we put a scan through, or whenever we took a snapshot, we started pushing things into the history in our servers. So now you can go and check daily how your wallet has been performing during the past. The important thing is there that this is not a block explorer like we've seen in Ethereum. It is one of the good old boring financial audit systems that may not give away too much, but enough for you to have a little bit of an overview of what is going on.
That's cool. That's cool.
So,
And it's, for me, in the work that we do with the community, it's really cool to hear about your experience working with the community at large, whether through Discord, which is more of a heavier developer-focused communication channel, to Telegram, which is much more wide open to the community at large, and the feedback and support that you got. So that's great, and I wouldn't have expected anything less. This is a really like I said earlier, it's an amazing community to be able to interact with and support. So
yes, and it is really this impact that helped us start pushing for more things. Now we've started putting some nice graphs in there, this sort of things, and I do see there's quite some future in this project, because the community wants to know a little bit what's going on with the wallets, and of course we're gonna have a lot of this when nodes will become available to developers. Indeed, it does cost some money to do the queries, but it will be free for us to do them when we have access to the nodes. And there are, he is actually where I believe things could be. You see, right now what we're doing is it's just an account check. You go into your account and you check a little bit what's going on. But Hedera has a little bit more to offer than that. It's not just accounts. Hedera is it's about files. It's about contracts. And where we really want to be in the future is have a look into the contracts. Let me explain what I mean. You see, since Hedera itself liked all this business with formal verification, there is a lot of talk, not only in the Hedera community, but generally academic talk, whether these contracts should be formally verified. So, and Hash-Hash.info could be a place where we could have contracts stored and have their owners or other people try to maybe not formally verify properties, but start putting some tests and record them. So here's this contract, and here is 12 tests we've done on it. These are more, not exactly formal verification, but more like unit tests. There's a big discussion we can have, why not formal verification, because I believe that it can be abused, and it is difficult to understand, and it's difficult to read. So something lighter would be a unit test. Yes, here's the contract. There's this 16 tests we've done. Everybody can understand what they mean, and it has a little bit of a thumbs up. So this is where Hash-Hash.info really could go when we start monitoring the contracts. Similar things with files, but all these are still part of the of the grand plan. At the moment, it does work. There are other people who will try to do, for instance, hbarscan.com is trying to do something similar to Etherscan, and I believe that all of us can contribute together to make a big and nice ecosystem that works. And here's now where paper comes in. This is the glue between us. So and this is why paper really is such an important contribution. So, I mean, people who are not very into distributed ledgers, they cannot see, okay, it's an API payment thing, okay. But in reality, what it allows us to do is different types of Hash-Hash.info kind of services to share content. So, for instance, I don't have history for that account from January to February, but I know that these guys have it. So I could bring them up, tell them, okay, put it into my email box so that history, and I'm gonna buy it. Or I just could use paper and make it all automatic. So whenever I need accounts from somebody, I don't have to, but I know that, for instance, somebody else has them, and we have that agreement to work via APIs. We could just automatically get and pay at the same time.
Well, I like how you've been able to articulate a growing ecosystem. So that's and it seemed like a pretty natural thing to do. So
indeed, and bigger ecosystem. And this is where I believe we need to put a little bit of effort in. Hedera is quite young. The deal sharing up was interesting, but I believe at the moment we need to look more into operating system type of utilities, because Hedera Hashgraph is an operating system in the end of the day, and it does need a lot of utilities, and Hash-Hash.info is a utility. Of course, we would love to see bigger things. I don't know, let's put Facebook type of thing on a Hashgraph. I'm not saying it will follow, but we first need to get the groundwork, the bare metal.
Yeah, and you know what, the community testing program has been an amazing, amazing program for us to roll out, and we've been able to learn so much. So we're very happy with what we've been able to achieve, but also very excited for what we're going to be rolling out over the next couple of weeks. But I do, we've talked about the testing program. What I'm going to do is at the bottom of this video, I will have a link to your article, but I'll also have a link to your personal LinkedIn page so people can learn more about you. And I'll also include a link to the community testing program so that people can familiarize themselves. And hey, as well as Hash-Hash.info. Sorry, that should be the first one. But no, this has been really cool, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that it's late. You're over in Europe right now, so I don't want to keep you too late. Although I understand
I could talk endlessly about the same thing. you see, all it takes is go into the Discord developer channel and have a little bit a look in there. What a great civilized discussion you can have in there among developers. I mean, developers we are not known to be the nicest guys.
Well, that applies
we've been arguing about. Indeed, but it's really such a nice place to be, and it's great fun to develop. It's really a good developer community. So
awesome.
I think we're gonna see really nice things coming out. In the next couple of months. I see a lot of people working with contracts already. So,
well, we're very excited. But thank you very much, Nick. You've been incredibly helpful and informative about your experience, and we really appreciate it. And we'll have this posted up on hashgraph.org.
Cheers. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Nick.